We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters Talk of the Toon with me and Sid. Rob will be joining us halfway through the show. Good evening, Sid. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. Full of busy. How about yourself?
All good, mate. All good this end, and the final week is upon us, mate.
Yes.
After the 1-1 draw at home to Brighton. I'm not sure about you. I've already mentioned it on a couple of shows already since the game. It wasn't a bad game for a 1-1 draw. I didn't walk out to St James's Park going, I've just wasted my time there. It was a competitive game. I think probably what I learned from it is, once again, it's easy to get sucked in as a Newcastle fan. You'd think I'd learn after 40 years, getting carried away with the excitement of a good run. And, you know, it's going to be nip and tuck this week. You know, we've got the game, of course, Wednesday night against Manchester United, and then we've got the game against Brentford. Chelsea coming up on the rails. It's in our hands with Manchester United after their defeat against Arsenal. But let's look at our game. 1-1 with Brighton. We went 1 goal down. I felt it was a point earned. I don't think we deserved any more. What was your thoughts?
No, I just want to say, if you can't get excited, you know, and get carried away, that's the day to give up, isn't it? You know, that's the whole point of being a Newcastle United fan. Absolutely. It was, I think the point was a fair result. In fact, it was the first thing I said as I went into the pub after the match. I said I thought it was a fair result because they could have been 2-0 up in the first half, realistically. Although obviously we got the equaliser in some respects, so it could have been 2-1, maybe even 3-1. They looked a little bit more sort of potent, as it were, up front than we did. But I thought it was a fair. I just thought it was a fair result. They sort of did a bit of a job on us, really, didn't they? You know, to some respects, I thought we sort of dominated possession quite a bit, but we had nothing in terms of crossing ability going up front, which was really unusual. Murphy sort of wasted a few chances, although he did put a couple of decent balls in. There was nobody there. And unusually, Livramento had quite a poor game by his really, really high standards. And don't get me wrong, absolutely entitled to do so. Everybody's entitled to a bad game here and there every now and again. And I just thought he had a poor game. He seemed to be targeted. I got the impression Brighton played an unusual style of football. They played quite long ball, which I've not seen. They literally got the ball and humped it up the pitch. And our defence panicked a little bit. They didn't know what to do. Even the two centre-halves, I mean, in some respects, Big Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk are almost mirror opposites of each other, aren't they? You know, they're two big giants or old school centre-halves. And Dan Burn struggled a little bit in terms of wondering what to do because they just kept humping it up the pitch. And they seem to be humping it up the pitch as well, either down the middle or targeting Livramento. So I was a little bit surprised by that. But I thought it was a fair result. I thought we didn't offer an awful lot going forward. I mean, it's proven by how many shots did we have? How many real chances were there? I thought Barnes should have scored at the end. I think that would be fair when he got slotted through by Anderson, and he opened his body and just knocked it straight at the keeper. Either side need score, and he came on and did very little. I thought Big Joe, unfortunately, was pretty poor when he came on. I thought he'd improved the game, and obviously it's just one of those things getting your touch back. He just didn't really produce anything, and Miggy, I could have throttled him by the end of the match. But well, two reasons. One, where we sit, I didn't even get up when we scored, and it was offside because we could see he was a yard offside, and I remember saying, "Hold your line, hold it," to Stephen next to us, "Hold your line," and he didn't. He looked straight along the line and just ran, and I thought, "Oh, he's miles off." So I didn't even bother getting up. It was so clear. And then obviously the dive, which was absolutely farcical. When you threw as well, he's through. He could have slotted the ball across or had a shot, and if the keeper saves it, fair do. But don't dive, it's just ridiculous. So honestly, he's so frustrating as a footballer. So I thought it was a fair result. They looked pretty neat and tidy going forward. The young lad who looked about 16 on the wing, on the left wing, he was quite impressive actually. I don't know his name, but he was quite good. They've got some nice players. They've got some impressive footballers. So it was a fair result. I thought it was a fair result. I thought we were nice going down the left side. I thought Hall was very, very good again. I thought his interplay with Anderson was excellent. Craig Hope gave Anderson man of the match. It's hard to disagree, to be fair. I thought him and Hall was superb. I thought Gordon was pretty good, if not outstanding, but pretty good. Bruno was all right. Longstaff was pretty poor until he scored. So fair enough, It was just one of them things. I thought it was a fair result. I can't knock it. 1-1. And if we win the next two games, then nobody's going to go, "Oh, 7 points, what a terrible result." We've been the one thing we've been consistent about all season is being inconsistent. And I actually see the Man United game being an easier game than the Brentford game, personally. So yeah. I expect I'm going 4 points over those two games.
Okay. I mean, the diving was something which, I really found strange. And I mean, it was a diving competition because, let's face it, it wasn't just Miguel Almiron, but there was also a player from Brighton chose to do exactly the same as well.
Both from the same country.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, diving's been endemic in the league for at least 30 years. I mean, Michael Owen, let's be honest, the World Cup in '98, he dived. And there are a number of players who've been doing it for a number of years. It seems to be getting bad again. There was a spell where they curtailed it, and then all of a sudden they started doing it again. You think, well, you've got cameras everywhere. Why would you dive? You've got more chance now being caught than you were 30 years ago because there are cameras literally everywhere in every game. And especially with the VAR situation, you got no way of getting away with it. No way of getting away with it. So why do it? Personally, if I was the manager, I would fine you 2 weeks' wages and you wouldn't be playing for me again for at least 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's just unacceptable. Unacceptable. Especially when you're through on goal. What are you doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. So, no, not good enough. Not acceptable. Not acceptable in any situation.
In your mind, a point gained then rather than 2 points dropped?
Yeah, I think so. I know it's harsh when you're at home because you want to win and you should win, really. But, beggars and choosers and all the rest of it. I thought, as I say, it was a fair result. So I'm not going to bemoan it. Brighton are a decent team. They're quite a tidy team. And oddly, how weird, the fact that they've got Man United and Chelsea next. How strange is that? So they're playing all three teams, and you wouldn't be surprised to see them beat both teams because I think have they got both teams at home? I think they do.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be surprised to see them beat both teams. They've got a lot of big injuries though. The young is it the Korean lad on the wing? I forgot his name now. He's magnificent, and he wasn't fit. And I didn't understand why the Irish lad's name again? I rate him very highly.
And when they're missing Evan Ferguson, he's still injured. Pedro was injured. Mitamo was injured. Yeah, I mean, they're all injured.
Big injuries there. And the young lad that we were going to sign as centre forward, and I wish we had done, he was injured as well, and he didn't play. So they've got some really, really good players, big injuries. I mean, I know we've obviously had the worst injury list of the year, although Sky Sports seem to argue it's Man United, but it's clearly us by quite a bit. But Brighton must be way up there. They must be way up there on that list, certainly at this current situation, where ours are all just about back now. So they missed a number of players as well. It was just definitely, it was a fair result. I've got no complaints whatsoever. That's just the way it works. You know,
all the talk before the game was whether he should have played. You know, Nick Pope. I thought Dubravka, didn't have a great deal to do. But what he did, he did well, and I genuinely think it was the right decision to play Dubravka. And of course, Wilson was missing as well. Which
I'd play Pope if he's fit enough to be on the bench. Play him, because I don't rate Dubravka. I think he couldn't catch cold at times. He's crossing on crosses. He's just terrible. It's like he's in and he's out and he's in and he's out, and it's just come out and claim it. If you miss it, then so be it. But he doesn't do either. And for me, we've lost 10 points at least because of his goalkeeping. So not for me. Not for me.
I think the problem is, though, if Nick Pope came in, and this is all hypothetical, of course, but if he brought Nick Pope in, let's say he brought him in at the weekend and he got an injury, Dubravka then goes in and he's, after everything he's done, he's thinking, well, I'm just second choice. And I think it's a mental thing more than anything else.
I get that, but if he's fit enough to be on the bench, why is he on the bench? If you're fit enough to be on the bench, then you should be.
It should be competitive, though. It should be competitive. Yeah. It should be competitive, shouldn't it, between the keepers? You should.
Absolutely. That's why I would go out and buy another goalkeeper. And you know how high I rate Nick Pope, because I rated him as my top choice on my all-time 11. And thank you for the comments I had to various people.
Yeah, you got some good comments, by the way. Yeah, very good comments.
Very nice. So I rate him incredibly highly as a goalkeeper, but I still think we can do even better. And I would like to see us go out and buy a first team choice goalkeeper to really go for it. I can't see why not. And then have him as for him and somebody else of equal ability or better. Well, that would be magnificent. We'd have the best set of keepers in the league. Yeah, absolutely. For me, I remember when we got Nick Pope, and at the time Dubravka was doing quite well, and at the time I thought, what do we need a keeper for? And then you see the level difference. It's night and day. It's absolutely night and day, the difference between both keepers. So yeah, huge step up, and I would have Pope in all day long. Yeah. So.
We missed Wilson. There was mixed reports coming out. Some say he was took ill before the game. People say that was the reason. Isak wasn't 100%. He went off, was a little bit under the weather. And then on top of that, there was rumours flying around about a hamstring. I guess we'll know from Eddie's press conference, and we'll know from the team selection on Wednesday, what was right and what was wrong. If it was a hamstring,
I haven't seen some of the comments. It seems to be a real bit of confusion because they're arguing that he might have had a tight chest, not a tight hamstring.
No, right. So well, that's a third. There's a third story that we've heard now. Then.
So that's off one of the journalists, one of the local journals was referring to that. So it's who knows. I think is the honest answer. But it convinces me that he won't be here next season. Well, that and his statement the other week of I'm obliged to be back in August or whatever it was, or I'm contracted to Newcastle United. That is not. Oh, I can't wait for next season, and I'm really raring to go. That's basically saying goodbye, isn't it? Really. And was he on the pitch at the end of the match? I didn't see him.
I left. I was away to the Afida Zain Pet night at the City Hall, so I didn't stay for the annual walk around the pitch, unfortunately. But I did see the photograph of Bruno sitting down and looking emotional. I mean, people can take a photograph in whatever way they want to take it. It can mean anything, I mean, some people were saying he was making it all about him. Some people were saying he's upset because this is the last time he's going to be at St James's Park as a Newcastle player. Some people just saying he's tired. I mean, you can read anything into a photograph. I didn't read anything into that. I've got to be honest. I think
it is what it is. And if he's here, absolutely magnificent, a player I rate so highly. But if he's not, then so be it. As long as if he does go, as long as I'm sure they've got backup contingencies, and midfielders can be replaced. It's centre forwards are the real problems. And for me, as long as he doesn't go to Liverpool or Arsenal, then I can sort of live with that. But yeah, those two would really, or Man United obviously, but who would go at Man United at the minute? But but those two clubs would worry me, that would annoy me, and that would upset me a little bit. I would much rather see him, if he does go, and I hope he doesn't, may I add, if he does go, I'd much rather him go to sort of Barcelona or Real Madrid or someone like that, who is more than capable of playing for, let's be honest.
A couple of other performances. I mean, Emil Kraft, you picked Lewis Hall out. I picked Kraft out at the weekend. I mean, the biggest compliment you can pay to Kraft is that, at times you just don't even realise that not only was Jamal Lascelles or Sven Botman or Fabian Schär not playing, he was your first, he was he's an acting centre half now when we know he can play left back and right back. But I think he's done a sterling job in there. He's he commanded, he organised. I watched him quite a bit. I thought he did a wonderful job in that position.
Solid pro, which all clubs need. And I like the fact that he's got that about him. He's quite quick, but he's one of those who's not quick over 5 yards. He's quick over 20 yards. So he takes 5-6 yards to get up to a head of steam, and then he's quick. But an impressive footballer, I have to say. I'd take my hat off to him as well, because I remember under Bruce, he was atrocious. He was abysmal. He really was. We were like, oh, mate, what have we signed? Yeah, he's terrible. But to be fair, Eddie Howe was absolutely a player doesn't get mentioned enough in terms of the transformation. But because before that injury, he was really pushing Trippier on the right, as a right back when he was covering Trippier's injury. He was magnificent. So yeah, I thought he had a very solid game the other day. And you know what? That's a good compliment. I thought he was solid, good, solid 7 out of 10, which is excellent. Terrific, good player.
Yeah, no, definitely. The midfield as well. I saw Anderson seemed to be the one who was getting a bit of stick at the weekend. I mean, we're used to Longstaff getting stick. I just thought Anderson did some interesting stuff. He was, he grafted. He put a shift in. I mean, it was hot out there. It was hot in the stands. Never mind playing football for 90 plus minutes. He
was my man of the match. He was my man of the match along with Lewis Hall.
People criticising him, saying that Gordon was affected by by playing Anderson. I thought it was a ludicrous statement that by a lot of people. But Longstaff again, right place, right time, another goal, 8 goals now, and
Anderson's of course, which was really well spotted and slotted across.
Exactly, I thought both of them played well.
It's magnificent. It's really good. The left side, the interaction between the three of them, because it was first half. You watch it, and it's really clever because Hall does bomb up. And when he bombs up, you've got Anderson just drops back and covers the left back position. And then again, when Gordon just drops back slightly, Anderson's on the overlap. So there's always options between the three of them. The interplay between the three of them is a really good understanding. And it's no surprise that Gordon and Anderson are best friends as well. And I think that does play a part on the pitch, as does Bruno and Joe Linton. Really, I think the left side is fantastic. And yes, I would certainly start Big Joe, and I would probably start him in place of Sean Longstaff over the next 2 games. But it's hard to drop Longstaff. He scored twice in the last 2 games. He does put a shift in, and to be fair to him, he did stop a potential goal as well. So, he had a decent game. I thought he was all right. I thought he was pretty poor in the first half, but pretty decent in the second half until they took him off. And it was quite noticeable because Big Joe was a big drop down, which again unsurprising because I really rate Big Joe. So yeah, I can't knock him. I can't really knock any of the players really. I thought they were just all right, not bad. It was a middling performance, wasn't it? And Isak was clearly not himself. And for a short while, Gordon wasn't himself because there was a one-on-one speed-wise, and Gordon just sort of dropped off. But he must have took a little kick and sort of run it off, as it were. But Isak wasn't himself at all. And you could tell when later on after the match it was reported that he'd been ill during the week, then you thought, fair enough, I could see that. But yeah, the man of glass, Wilson, it was a big loss. You can't rely on him. You just can't rely on him. So we need somebody else to be able to come in there and do a job.
Just looking at the War Flags display as well. The display was fantastic. Were you like me? Were you scratching your head to trying to work out what it was? Because it wasn't until I came out of the game. Obviously, I could see the magpie from where I sit.
The magpie we could see, but what was the other one? Was it a castle or something?
Yeah. So basically, the obviously the War Flags design was a four-sided endeavour, and at both ends, of course, were housing a representation of the club crest as it was between 1976 and
Right.
1983. So the Gallagher end display depicted the castle from the badge with grass and water details in front. The Leazes end, which I could see clearly, well, that display represented the magpie from the badge. So that was the idea. And once it's explained to you like that,
Yeah.
I guess you understand it. But regardless of what it was and whether we understood it on the day, it still was fantastic. And I would say for a league game like that, I felt the atmosphere, despite the type of game it turned out to be, was probably one of the best atmospheres for a while as well. I thought the singing, etc., throughout the game was pretty good.
Yeah, it dropped off a little bit, but that was understandable, and it was quite hot, to be fair. It was the first time. It was the first time this season I beat the game without a partner on. It was lovely. The atmosphere was fantastic before. It was bouncing. The noise was great, and then the sort of noise sort of dissipated for a little while, and then it came back again when we scored, and that's understandable. Yeah, it was a pretty decent atmosphere. I thought it was not bad at all. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty decent. I thought the ending bizarrely was quite flat with a sort of little walk around at the end. It was like, I think it was that anticlimactic feeling of we thought we could have nailed Europe the other day.
Yeah.
And we would have done. I think we actually would have nailed the European place if we'd actually beaten them, wouldn't we? We technically need a point against Manchester United. Mm-hmm. And that would do it. That would do it mathematically.
Interesting stats, of course. Newcastle completed the feat of netting in every home game for the first time in a Premier League season, 19 games. That's the first time they've done so in the top flight since 1958-59, which was 21 games. And in any season since the second division campaign of 1982-83, again, which was 21 games. Newcastle also reached the highest Premier League points total in a season since 2002, 2003. And they scored the highest number of Premier League goals at St James's Park in a season since 96-97, which of course was started by Keegan and finished by Kenny Dalglish. Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak as well both reached 50 Premier League appearances for the Magpies. And Sean Longstaff's sixth Premier League strike of the campaign extends his seasonal record in all competitions to 8, which is equal with his combined tally in the previous 5 seasons of senior service to Newcastle United. And after his effort at Burnley last week, it's the first time he's netted for Newcastle in successive games, which is quite good. And he's 10 Premier League career goals, take him level with colleagues Jacob Murphy and Jamal Lascelles, and former Magpie favourites such as Leon Best, Nikos Dabizas, Robbie Elliott, Paul Kitson, and Alexander Mitrovic. Yes, Alexander Mitrovic. There you go. Sean Longstaff scored as many goals as he has in his time at the club as well. Just want to talk about Anthony Gordon before we go to the break. Newcastle United's player of the season. I don't think there was any doubt. I know we've talked about Fabian Schär, but I don't think there was any doubt. He deserves it, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely deserves it. I remember when we first signed him up, I was really unsure. I was like, 40 million. I thought it's a lot. I'm 45, really. Thought a lot of money. Wasn't convinced at all. And again, proven wrong. He's been nothing short of magnificent. And if he continues in this manner, he may well make my all-time 11. He was absolutely superb. He obviously doesn't have the skill of the likes of Ginola and Waddle, but he does have some other stuff. You know, he's got the sheer pace. He's got 2 feet. He's pretty good in terms of his vision. And more importantly, of course, he scores goals. He's been involved in 25, 26 goals this year, which is absolutely astounding. And I'm amazed he's not up for either PFA Player of the Year or Young PFA Player of the Year. And don't get me wrong, he wouldn't win PFA Player of the Year because Phil Foden should win it hands down. But I thought he'd maybe make the Young Players list. I think he had to be 23 or something before at the beginning of the season, which in itself seems farcical. I think it should be 21 personally. But he should have been on the list. I was stunned at some of the players that were on there. I mean, the Man U lad, they're all rabbiting on about, he's all right. Not as great as I think they make him out to be. And then there was a Spurs lad, and I think, really, what's he done for the second half of the season? So no, it just stinks of the sort of cartel thing, doesn't it? You know, you got to play for certain teams to be able to get picked. And Isak, it almost seems begrudging, I suspect, you know. But
no, we better chuck him in. We better chuck him in, otherwise, you know, it'll look odd.
Well, he might win, although what do they call him? Palmer. He should probably win the under-21 one, I suspect. And then if Foden will win the other one, and Foden deserves it. There's no doubt about it. So Isaac might win the young one, though. Or he might win it even though he's 24, which seems odd. But
pity he's a bit out of touch now on the Golden Boot after Haaland selfishly scored 4 the other week.
Yeah, he wasn't impressed being taken off, which is understandable. I mean, Haaland is a terrific player, and I said the other day, he's just a great goal scorer, but he doesn't have an awful lot of anything else, which sounds daft because the guy's going to score 30-odd goals again. And I'd rather, as an all-round player, have Isaac. I think he's just got more. He's got more as an all-round game. He's just fabulous. On his days, fabulous. So, but both great players. Can't knock either of them.
Okay, we are halfway through the show. It is time for the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk, telephone 01768 210 102, or email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Thanks to United Group Travel. There are no strangers in our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460, or mobile 0791 666 4174. Thanks to Media Arts for the technical side of things. And you can also find us as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. You can subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button underneath this video. Hit the all notifications bell so you don't miss a show. Hit the thumb up to like the channel and click share to your social media. If you want to join the channel, then click join for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become a member, for a one-off £25 payment, email john@nufcmatters.com or go to membership at the website nufcmatters.com. If you've got a smartphone, hold your camera over the QR code and it'll take you straight there. We also help the food bank on this channel. Go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk to the matchday bucket and you can leave a virtual donation today. And it's a good evening to Rob. How are you, my friend?
Hiya, guys. Are you both all right?
Good to see you.
Congratulations to Gateshead, the Heat Army. What a day, what a weekend, Rob.
Yeah, silverware in the northeast. I couldn't watch the penalties. I walked out the living room, sat in the garden for 15 minutes, couldn't watch it. And then my friend came out and said, "That's it, done, you won." And then straight away, I'm thinking, "Oh, you're winding me up, they got beat." But absolutely, thoroughly deserved victory. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Brilliant from every single player on the pitch. I think the referee didn't have the best of games. I thought Gateshead could have had 2 to 3 penalties during the game. But I mean, I was shouting for Brown to be subbed and put Marcus Denang on, but luckily they never. So that's brilliant. It was just really, really great for, like I say, the community at Gateshead. Hopefully they have celebrate the trophy outside the Civic Centre at the council buildings, you know. But hopefully things get sorted out in the coming weeks with their accommodation and with the stadium. So
Yeah, great
Brilliant,
stuff. Should have been a double celebration this year, but we'll settle for one. So that is the
Yeah.
FA Trophy final. Well done to Gateshead, and good luck to them for next season. They'll have a few
Yeah.
sore heads, still a few sore heads in the
Mhm.
northeast this weekend. So, what album are you bringing us this week, Rob?
Well, before I get into that, I want to ask you both, put you both on the spot and think about it, and at the end, give me your answer. You're on a desert island, you're allowed one record. What's it going to be? One record, 7-inch single, CD, or vinyl? So there you go. At the end, let me know what
All
it's
right,
going to
mate.
be.
Okay.
So this was my recommendation. I cannot remember the guy's name because I was doing live at the time, but it was Runrig. It was suggested to me. Runrig meaning traditional system of farming. Very, very surprised to hear that they formed in 1973. So a little story was I moved up from Gateshead in 1978, a place called Dalkeith, which now it was a bit like Stella Street, because I'd get up in the morning, I'd go to John Menzies, and Fish would be standing there, who stayed behind it. 10 Glebe Street was his mum and dad's address, which is the same address as the Bruins. So you'd go there, and then Sunday you would go up to a place called S Bank. It's like a newsagent shop. Then Donny Monroe was standing in front of me, dropped a glass pint of milk, smashed on the floor, and it was just like slow motion. But it was just strange, sort of growing up in that environment. These two guys, obviously from Dalkeith, in such a small town. So yeah, this album, it's a live album. It's called Once in a Lifetime. This is 1988, Celtic rock, and it's produced by Chris Harley. It was okay to listen to it. I found it a bit tiring. Like I say, I've got to be honest, but it opens up with a dance called America. Nice vocal opening, flat four, bass drum, bass comes in, bass guitar. It kicks in, nice cymbal accents in this one though. It's like a mid-tempo rock, typically 1980s keyboard sound. Really strong vocals on this, really, really strong. But Donny Monroe, obviously. Really nice harmonies, decent opener. Then you've got Protect and Survive. This reminds me of Chance by Big Country. Again, pounding bass on this one. The intro is similar to the above, the intro song. Absolutely very much Celtic, Scottish, sort of folklore based, atmospheric. Nice mid-late section, nice snare work, sort of quite a military sound to the drums. I'm finding with this. Then you've got track number 3. I cannot pronounce it, but I know it means translated to Icy Winter. This is, again, sort of sultry, moody sort of keyboards on this, subtle guitar in the background. It's nicely sung. It's sung in Gaelic or Gaelic, Bowie or Bowie. And I was saying to Sharon, this is how many Scots people still speak their original language? I don't know. Are they getting it taught at schools? I don't know. And you got track number 4, Rocket to the Moon. As soon as I wrote that down, I thought of the Stranglers song. This is a better up-tempo beat on this one. It's like, again, it's a bit Deacon Bluish, but I cannot help it now that I'm older. Listen to records I've not heard before, and you're going to have passing waves of other bands and influences that direct you. But yeah, Deacon Blue, nice bass on this. The drumming's really subtle, but it's quite chunky. It's sort of like bass drum work, and it's sort of like snare rolls. And a lot of the songs, it's just a flat 4 drumming. Good chorus. It's a really good song. I quite like this song. It's probably my most favoured song on the album. So it's called Rocket to the Moon. You've got Going Home. It's moody guitaring again. So reminded me of Martin Knopfler a little bit. Good change of direction midway through the song. I like the chorus and reverb on the guitar. I can hear early Marillion on this as well. Yeah, that's a good thing though. It's not bad things, but I just pick up on that. And I don't know if it's because of Big Country with the Scottish theme, Deacon Blue, Marillion. I don't know if there's something in the water. Track number 6, cannot pronounce the name of the song, but it's translated to Hell Off the Cliff. Keyboard opening again reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's just something about it that sort of gave me that sort of depth and thickness of the keyboard sound. Nice tom work on this one, very tribal, which is right up my street. Then you've got Milt at the Market Stands. Again, good tom work, good drum work. Good distortion on the lead guitar on this one. I think I do like that, sort of more punchier, darker sound, heavy. Nice catchy hooks on this one, sort of like soft rock, sort of White Snake style. Then you've got Sky, again, military-based snare roll. It just opens, bangs into it, and I Hear Fields of Fire by Big Country. But it's a well-delivered song. Then you got Loch Lomond. I don't know if you remember that song, You Take the High Road and I Take the Low Road. I'll be in Scotland before you. Fish, it's the first time I seen Marillion was 83, and they'd done the B-side. It's at the Edinburgh Playhouse. It was called Margaret. So he changed the words to, I'll take the acid, you'll take the dope, and I'll be wasted before you. For me, my first love will never walk again on the bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Yeah, I don't know if it's a song about Loch Ness Monster or whatever it is, but it's one of these romantic songs. Then you've got Hearts of Olden Glory, his final song. It's a decent song. It's okay. It's a bit draggy, this song. Overall, it's a decent album. It's a live album. I do prefer live albums myself. I actually bought The Who live at Leeds. Thanks to you, Sid, for mentioning that the other week. It's nice. It's a good album. It's very well produced, very operatic, Celtic, powerful vocal. The vocals are really strong, really sort of operatic, but deeply Celtic. You can hear the Irish and Scottish in it, influence through it all. But very, very well produced album. Next week I have been asked by a Mr. Mark Byers, who gave me a list of various albums to listen to. So I've chosen one already. So that'll be for next week. So
great stuff. And the album you didn't review this week. I mean, I've got a selection from you this week, but this one,
yes.
I'm really pleased you didn't do Loretta's album, mate. Thank you very much for not covering that. I do want to mention as well. Oh, you've got your hold on. Let me wait a minute. I've got to get you on your solo layout. There you go, so I can see it. Brilliant.
Memorabilia for this week. 2 squeeze VIP passes. I went to John Cooper Clarke support and Heaven 17 on this one. So there's little keepsakes, little novelties.
And
so, really nice.
And we've got this today. What's this?
That is, we've got a rehearsal tomorrow, then one more rehearsal. We're playing the 24th, Friday 24th. That's our full set list that we're doing just now. So if anybody, viewers like that sort of sound, that set list, give up the Ghost UK on Facebook. After this gig, we're going to be doing like a poll. We'll be picking songs from around that sort of genre and giving people a poll. What do you want to hear live? Like Sid, or just say you're playing Simple Minds. No, most people play Don't You Forget About Me or Alive and Kicking. We want to play Chelsea Girl or something from Sons and Fascination, love song or something. So we're trying to do stuff that I've not heard that in ages. Who sung that again? So that's our official set list. Yeah,
great stuff, mate. Excellent. Well, that's Give Up the Ghost UK. Make sure you follow them on Facebook. Sid, you often bring something to the table. What have you brought us this week?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've sang Love Song, by the way. It's great singing it. Love it. I've gone with Dexys Midnight Runners. Searching for the Young Soul Rebels is just an absolutely great album, isn't it? It's one of the greatest albums ever made. It's in my top 2. I think I had it in my debut album show. It's just brilliant. Came out in 1980. It was an absolute breath of fresh air. They'd just been touring on the two-tone tour they took over from Madness, and they were incredible, actually. They are an incredible band. And Kevin Rowland, very clever man. He's had about 100 different members. But Big Jimmy's always been the sort of ever-present, as it were. And at this point, the band were a sort of brass soul band. Brilliant as well. The album's superb. It really is different what was going on at the time because you had the whole ska thing going on. Dexys were not a ska band. They were certainly more of a soul band mixed with elements of punk rock, if you like. And I love the opening because Burn It Down starts off with a little bit of music at Deep Purple and the radio switches. You've got the Pistols and then it switches to the Specials. And then he says, for God's sake, burn it down. And then the horns just blast in. They're amazing. It's a great song. I'll not go through all the songs because we're doing a show on it. But there's some just absolute belters on it. Tell Me When the Light Turns Green's magnificent. Talking about the narrator's emotions and his state of mind. I'm Just Looking with Kevin Rowland's beautiful, soulful, sort of fairy-esque type voice at times is just brilliant. It's really powerful. The keys are brilliant and the band just build up. The momentum's magnificent. Gino's obviously great. It's a song about going to see Gino Washington when he was 15 at the Railway Hotel in Harrow and just seeing what a great gig it was. He was sort of becoming a bit of a skinhead at the time, seeing what a superb show it was. Doing his whole Chairman of the Board General Johnson sort of stuff as well, which is always excellent. Some excellent songs on it throughout, Keep It's Magnificent, They're My Dear, which I did in my first ever band. And I remember we used to wear a roll-up hat at the time. I remember walking into Sergeant Pepper's and people started shouting Gino. That's another story. Sergeant Pepper was mental. Do you remember the guy used to walk in and people started shouting Keegan at him? He looked like Kevin Keegan. Fantastic. And if you get the deluxe edition, there's about 20 extra songs because they actually had another album's worth of material. And it's as good as this, which is just incredible. Just a superb, absolutely outstanding album. It's as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned. And I can't recommend it enough. Go and check it out. It's breathtaking. It's as good as the first Specials album. It's that good. So, yeah, Searching for the Young Soul Rebels. Brilliant.
And what about the Reading Matters on NUFC Matters this week?
Yes, it links exactly to it. I was at the Don Letts show the other day, and it's got Pete Williams out of Dexys was there as well. And they've got a guy who's actually wrote a book about Dexys. So that's also recommended by Nige Tassel. I didn't agree with everything he said. He was sort of big advocate of sort of Thatcher promoting music, which I roundly booed at, but there you have it. And but yeah, it's a good read. He's spoke to loads of ex-members of Dexys, and it's I'm sort of third of the way through it at the minute. Very good, quite funny at times, and shows you how determined sort of Kevin Rowland was. He was just sort of clearly driven, a very, very driven man. And I'm a massive Dexys fan. I absolutely love them. I think they're one of the most underrated bands that this country's produced, or the area, because he classes himself as Irish, doesn't he? But yeah, certainly just a great band. And we've already got a couple of shows on them, top 10 songs by Dexys. It's not the ones you'd expect. And we've also got the albums ranking show as well, which we just laughed at all the way through it. It was actually quite a funny show. Although not as funny as the one we did last night on the Ramones, and that'll be out in a week or so. So there we go. Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for the promotion there.
Yeah, Songs from the Attic. Get yourself onto that YouTube channel. Give it a sub. It's Sid's channel. Well worth watching. And don't forget to go to Give Up the Ghost on Facebook UK. Give Up the Ghost UK, and follow Rob. Rob, we will see you next week with Mark Byers' album. I'm sure he's looking forward to that, and so are we.
Desert Island.
Yes, yeah. What's the one album, one record? Steve, you go.
I'm going to say if it's 7-inch single or an album, I'll go Help by the Beatles.
All right.
Oh God, I'm torn between two albums here because it's either go for a Bowie album or Quadrophenia. I'll go with Scary Monsters, David Bowie.
Yeah, good album.
Hopefully you're on the next island to me, and then we can just swap it. What about you, Rob? What's your album, Rob?
The Mission, God's Own Medicine, 1986.
Right, okay, there we go. Excellent idea, that. Good idea. Maybe he's come up with another one of them next week, Rob.
Yeah,
look forward to seeing you then. Take care, mate.
Okay, guys.
Enjoy the celebrations. Well done to Gateshead.
Well, yeah, certainly am. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great to have Rob on, as always. Top man and an expert in the field, it has to be said. Okay, we are going to look ahead to Manchester United. And because it's going out on Tuesday night, we want to give those travelling down to Old Trafford a little bit of Scunny Mag with a few updates about where you can go around the ground.
Hi folks, Scunny Mag Paul here. Manchester United away coming up for the second time this season. Not managed to score a goal past us in all competitions so far. We've put 4 past them, 3 last time we were at theirs. Let's see if we can have this. It's been a bit of a busy week and weekend. I've had to use an old one. I hope I've tweaked the sound a bit so that it was better than back in the olden days. It's coming up. If you're driving in, there's lots of car parks around the ground. Some of them you need to pre-book, some of them you don't. They're around about £10. It's very congested getting out, which makes my favourite, the Lowry Mall in Salford Quays, just over the footbridge, 10 minutes walk to the ground. The postcode for that is M503AH, and it is going to cost you under a £5 for 3 hours, so you need to arrive close to the match. The beauty of that one is it's straight out back onto the ring road, and you avoid all of the traffic at the other side of the river. For those arriving by train, you'll probably come into Piccadilly. There are a couple of pubs around there. In fact, there's loads of pubs around there. But there's a couple that are specifically set up for away fans on match days. The Green Sports Bar and the Waldorf are two that are listed. You'll find them really easy. Follow all the black and white shirts out of the train station and listen for the singing. If it was me, I would stay there until near the game and then head up to the ground. But if you want to get closer, there are a few pubs around the ground. There's a Wetherspoons right nearby. It's mainly packed with Man United fans because it's a Wetherspoons and it's right nearby. But it is listed as away friendly. You probably won't get in with football colours, but if you turn up with any accent from the world, they'll probably think you're a Man United fan, including Geordie. The what three words for that is Luxury Tins Jungle, and the postcode is M32 0SF. Two a little bit further out, probably better. Gorse Hill, it's on Chester Road. Postcode is M32 0PA, and your what three words is Milky Upset Demand. And the quadrant, found on a big roundabout with some shops nearby, is M32 8GR, and your what three words is Locals Offers Fresh. And once you're done drinking, get yourself up to the ground. The away end is on the east corner as the ground's laid out. And your what three words is my favourite what three words I've ever come across, because it just happens to be the most Geordie sounding what three words. So I'm going to do my drunk Geordie accent. It is proper sticky mint. I think that's excellent. Have a great day. Let's hope we smash them, and see you for the next one. Thanks. Bye.
Absolutely brilliant. Me and Scunny Mag had a pint before the match at the weekend, and we were going on about the what three words because nobody knew what on earth this meant. And he works in the delivery industry and was telling us about the fact that so many postcodes lead you up the garden path to the wrong place. That's where what three words is absolutely useful. So that's why we're doing it, and it's stuck. Although I did say that some of the what three words that Mitch came out with were completely unacceptable for a family show. Before we look ahead to Manchester United, just want to talk about Alex Murphy, the Newcastle's left-sided defender. On Monday signed a new long-term contract to remain at St James's Park. 19-year-old Ireland Youth International was signed from Galway United ahead of the 22-23 season, and he's made 20 appearances for the under-21s. He's featured for the first team this pre-season, and he completed 90 minutes against Fiorentina. Alex has also had brief substitute outings, of course, against Premier League opposition, Chelsea and Sheffield United. So that's a good sign in that. And I guess, you know, if the kid makes it, great news. It's another defender in the bag for us, one which Eddie Howe can coach to the best of his abilities. And it's also somebody who I guess can be deemed maybe a homegrown player as well in a lot of ways.
They really, really rate him, don't they? They really rate him. I was dead impressed with him in the summer last year when he came on. I thought he was superb. He's quick. He reads the game well for such a young kid. He looks a real prospect. The problem we're going to have is if it's true that we're going to buy these two players who are going to play centre half or left back, he's probably not going to get a game. So therefore, I would loan him out. Probably stick him on a loan till Christmas for like Middlesbrough or somebody of that ilk, you know, championship sort of team, and get him first team football, because he's not going to develop as much. Yes, he'll develop under Eddie Howe, but there's nothing better as a player than going out and actually playing. So I would like to see him go out and get a good loan personally and see how he develops. Because let's be honest as well, as a centre half, you've got to learn in terms of being kicking a little bit as well, and doing all the physical aspects that you're going to have that you entail more as a defender than you are see it further up the pitch. And I think there's nothing better than playing championship football for that. So I would loan him out. But he looks a prospect.
Whilst we're talking about the young'uns, tonight, of course, Tuesday night, admission to the Senior Cup final, Northumberland Senior Cup final. For adults is £8, concessions £4, and under 18s £2. Take place at St James's Park. Access to the East Stand only. Turnstiles 39 to 47 will be open. The tie kicks off at 7:30, and if the scores are tied after 90 minutes, it will go straight to penalties. No extra time tonight. And the tie kicks off at 7:30. So make sure you're there in plenty time, obviously with only so limited turnstiles open. The Magpies are seeking their first victory in this competition since 2018, while Blythe Town have reached the final for the first time since their formation in 1995. And this season's Northern League Division 2 champions, Town, include former Magpie reserves Ryan McCorrigan and Yannick Asekunu in their squad, along with ex-Blythe Spartans legend Robbie Dale, who now plays in defence. Should be a cracking game. Let's hope the young'uns get plenty of support, and let's hope that they bring the silverware home to St James's Park and give themselves a great end to the season. Okay, looking ahead now to Newcastle
Before we
United.
do the football, can we just quickly for 2 minutes talk about the boxing?
Oh yeah, I was going to finish up with that, but let's talk about it now. Yeah, the boxing, of course,
it's the
is
biggest
this week.
fight in 25 years.
Yeah. Go on.
Without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm a big boxing fan, huge big boxing fan. And this is the biggest fight since Holyfield met Lewis, certainly in the heavyweight division, but probably really because we've had other fights where people have been way past it. And these two have still not reached that sort of level. Really excited about it because they've got a chance. The winner really puts themselves in the pantheon of the all-time greats then. Probably for me, the winner probably gets into my top 10 heavyweights. So it's really exciting in terms of the way that it's going to work out. Because in the past, we had Holyfield who beat Tyson twice, a good Tyson as well. I don't care people saying, oh, this, that, and the other. He beat a proper good Tyson twice, and he got beat off Lennox Lewis. Lewis puts himself right in there. One of these puts themselves right in there for me, up with all the greats of Ali and Foreman and Lewis and all those great fighters. I'm really excited because it's really hard to pick a winner. You've got Usyk, who very much like Holyfield's come up from the cruiserweight division. Great fighter, got everything about him. And then, of course, you got Fury, who's probably, I think, the best heavyweight that we've had in the last 20 years. And it's going to be great. Styles make fights. If you look at all the great fights in the past, and I'm really thrilled. I'm hoping that we don't see some dodgy refereeing decisions like we've seen in the past, like we saw with Holyfield and Lewis, where Lewis beat him and it was a draw. And a bit like Fury when he beat Wilder the first time round and they gave us a draw, or ridiculous decisions like Hagler when he beat Sugar Ray Leonard and they give it a Leonard. It was a disgraceful decision. So I want to see sort of a fair decision as well. And I'm tipping, this is going to be controversial, folks, I'm tipping Fury to win in the 8th. So there we go. I'm tipping
It's a big fight. I mean, the disappointment for me is that it's taking place in Saudi. I'm all for having fights in different parts of the world. I don't think there's anything wrong with staging some of these fights across there. This is a huge fight, and it all comes down to money, sadly. But this is a fight that I'd love to have the opportunity to have gone to. I'd love to have gone to Wembley or Cardiff or Manchester or, Tottenham or whatever. I'd love to have gone to one of those places to watch this. I think we'll have to make do with the winner of this fight in Joshua, hopefully Fury, and that being in this country. I think there'll be absolute hell on if the Battle of Britain took place in Saudi. I agree. I think Fury will win. Fury looks in great shape. I'm obviously good friends.
He looks in superb condition, doesn't he?
I'm good friends with Fury's camp. Yeah, I'm good friends with Fury's camp. I know them well, and they've said that they can't see him losing this fight. So it's whether it goes to points or whether it goes to a stoppage. I expect this to be technical. I expect it to be Tyson Fury to be at his smothering and frustrating best. Yeah. But don't be worried. Don't be worried if you see Tyson end up hitting the floor at some point, because we know he can get back. We know he can get back up.
Absolutely, because I mean the last fight, really, did he win it? I'm not sure he did. I had him down as being losing the fight. Yeah. And I had Usyk losing the previous fight, although of course technically he won. He knocked him out in the 8th. But I had him, yes, he was hit on the belt and on the top, but he made a big song and dance out of it. And I think he's vulnerable. But Usyk is a magnificent fighter. I'm not belittling him one iota. Just tremendous. Look, can't wait for it. Can't wait for it.
2 years age difference between them. The height difference, of course, 6'9" Tyson Fury, 6'3" Alexander Usyk. Experience, total fights for Fury 35, 34-1 is his record, of course, the draw, and 21 fights, 21 wins, 14 KOs for Usyk. But as was said, he's made that jump from cruiser up to heavy. So it's a big fight. This, as I agree, biggest fight we've had for a very long time. I think the promotion's been as entertaining. If the fight's as entertaining as the promotion, we're in for a hell of a treat. It's on at a reasonable time as well. Nobody having to wait up until 4 or 5 in the morning, because it's in Saudi. It'll be on around about 11 o'clock at night. And I think, I just want to see Fury bring a back home. Cracking undercard as well. There's some really good fights. Isaac Lowe's on there fighting Hasabullah Ahmadi, which as a boxing fan, I am looking forward to that. And there's also a vacant IBF cruiserweight title fight between Jai Opataya and Marissus Bradis. Mark Chamberlain fights Joshua Oluwaseun Wahab. Sergey Kovalev fights Robin Serwin Safar. And David Nikaya versus Michael Siet. So there's a big night of boxing. I'm looking forward to it. And I think we're both going with it. You're going for 8th round.
I'm going for 8th.
I'm going to go probably a little bit earlier. I'm probably going to go 7th round stoppage by KO for Fury. I think he's going to put them in the middle of next week. But all about opinions. We will.
It absolutely is. I remember being a little boy in 1974 with the radio on, trying to listen to the Ali Foreman fight, and I woke up the next day and I missed it all. And so I recall, I was as a little kid. I loved boxing. It's just great. Absolutely love it.
Newcastle travel to Manchester United on Wednesday. It sees them make the second visit of the season there. We, of course, won there 3-0 in the Carabao Cup. 8 o'clock kick-off live on Sky Sports. And following the 1-0 win at St James's Park in the first Premier League meeting, Eddie Howe's side have got the chance to wrap up their first Premier League double against the Manchester United Red Devils. And that's the first time we'll have done it since 1930-31 season.
Wow.
Since Edison Cavani's 71st minute leveller at St James's Park back in December 2021, Manchester United have failed to score against us in the Premier League for 289 minutes. This will be the 10th time that the two clubs have met, 3 times in the season, and Newcastle have never kept a 100% record intact in the previous 9. Team news, as well as we know it when we're pre-recording this on Monday, is that Joe Willock, Lewis Miley, Matt Targett, Sandro Tonali, Sven Botman and Jamal Lascelles won't play. It is expected that Alexander Isak will retain his place in the starting lineup, but unclear as yet whether Callum Wilson will return to the squad. His absence not clearly explained by the club, may well have been by the time you watch this programme though. And there's a chance that Fabian Schär could be involved, and we know that Kieran Trippier did return against Brighton, so he is fit and came through fit and well. Eddie Howe, again, has a decision to make, as we've discussed on this show already, as to whether he plays Martin Dubravka or Nick Pope in goal. Manchester United, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, Victor Lindelof, Anthony Martial and Tyrell Malacia remain unavailable. Mason Mount and Marcus Rashford may face the Magpies, but Eric Ten Hag appeared to rule out a return for Bruno Fernandes when speaking to journalists after the defeat to Arsenal at the weekend. At Old Trafford, the Theatre of Streams, as it's been nicknamed this weekend.
That's great, isn't
it? The Red Devils have won 9 times in the Premier League. They've drawn 3 and they have lost 6. You know where to drink. Scunny Mags just told you. Yep. Referees Robert Jones, Merseyside, are completing a full set of appointments in this fixture, having overseen the Carabao Cup meeting here and the Premier League fixture at St James's Park. He also refereed our early 1-0 loss at Manchester City, and he was most recently seen in the middle at St James's Park for our epic 4-3 victory over West Ham. And VAR official for this game is Peter Banks. So, prediction on this game. You seem very confident about the result in this game. Give us your prediction, Sid. What do you expect?
I think it's going to be end to end, but I think we'll win, and I'm going 3-2.
3-2. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go for a Newcastle United win as well. I'm gonna go a little bit more conservative. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win to Newcastle United, Sid. So fingers crossed we are right. Looking forward to it. Great show as always. Thanks to Rob for joining us. And don't forget, Songs from the Attic 1977. Give it a sub on YouTube. Go and follow Sid on there. We'll be back next week. Until then, take care, Sid. Bye-bye.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.